Friday. Get into the room, everybody. Let us do a show. Finally, Friday is being brought to you this week by Major Spoilers VIP and Patreon members from around the world. You can show your support and check out everything that we do by pointing your browser to patreon.com/Major Spoilers. Well, hello, everyone. It is Friday. Cannot believe we've made it to Friday. Got a lot of people in the chat, some people listening over on our Discord server. Hello, hello, hello. I hope you're all doing well. J. Crizzle12, Marshall Nesbitt, MJ, not that one is here. Hey, y'all, it's Friday, says Wayward Boy. Well, hey, y'all to you. Are you guys doing okay? I know some of the restrictions are starting to lift, depending on what country you are in, what state you're in, what county you are in. But hopefully, you're doing well. As you can tell, my hair is growing longer. I could do with a haircut. I think I'm going to wait until, like, August before I go and get a haircut. What do you think? I don't know if I can wait that long. Don't know if the rest of my family can wait that long. But I'm thinking August. We'll see how this summer goes as things slowly start to open here in the United States. See, a couple of people are wrapping up their school year. My boys have a few more days of class left. They have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week to do their virtual classes. University here in Hayes has one more week. Finals week is next week. So now will be the time for everybody to just flood me with all the projects that they haven't turned in until the last minute. So I'm sure I will be doing that this weekend. Catching up on that. The boys, I think, are kind of excited or ready. I know one of them just feels like he's ready for summer to begin. He's got work to do every day. The kid works really hard, but man, he's got work every day that lasts anywhere from 2 to 4 hours each day that he's working. And he does a great job. He really does. But I think he's ready for summer to begin. And I am waiting for places to open up so these kids can go play at the park. I don't know about swimming. I don't know if we'll do that this summer. But just because some areas are open up just doesn't mean that you should get out there and run around and congregate if your area is not open. MJ, not that one, says her kid, or I guess, I don't know, MJ, if you're a girl or a guy. But MJ, not that one, says that the kid is also finishing up. Oh, Jay Crizzle says you finished your finals 2 weeks ago? Wow. That's a lot. That's really amazing. To be done in the end of April? Where are you from there, where you would have your finals 2 weeks ago? Most universities are finishing up sometime in this period of May. Some of them go to the end of May. Wisconsin, wow, okay. Well, good for you. That's got to be nice. That has got to be nice. For those of you that were listening to the pre-show and all that music, that is coming from our Nightbot, and I'm going to have to figure out how to get you guys access to Nightbot. We can do all sorts of cool things with it. One of the things that I can do is plug our Monster Cat account through there, and then you guys should be able to request songs and put them into a queue, and we could have all sorts of fun with this, especially on Saturdays when we do our game stream. Saturday afternoons, 3 o'clock p.m. on that. And, yeah, we have you guys play music and all sorts of things. So Jay Crizzle says you can do your work in advance. Some instructors do that, some do not. I don't. I usually make sure that people finish stuff when they finish, and if I tell people, hey, here's a deadline, feel free to work ahead, they always still wait till the last minute. So I'm waiting for a flood of research papers to be turned in. Gosh, I think they're all due tomorrow. They'll all get turned in on Wednesday, I'm sure. The problem with the old-time radio shows is we were starting to get takedown notices when we would post this over at YouTube and occasionally on Twitch, where whoever the copyright holder is, I thought all this old-time radio stuff was in the public domain, but I had to stop paying it because we kept getting, playing it because it was getting too many takedown strikes or non-monetization strikes. And so I went and found the music through Nightbot and went ahead, and I think the yearly fee is really, really small. And then you just connect your YouTube accounts and your Twitch accounts and whatever other accounts that you're streaming on or posting videos on, and you're taken care of. And you won't get those monetary takedowns happening on your channel. So I'm fine with that. Plus, I like this music, and I'm sure that there's a bunch of other genre types of music that can be played through Monster Cat. I'll have to go, but I kind of like the EDM club music type stuff. That works for me. I mean, if they had a 70s channel, yeah, but I think most of this stuff is underground music. And I've been working this afternoon on some more integrations with Voicemeeter and doing a lot of more automation for this, which is good. I don't get to spend a lot of time going in and tweaking things. I noticed that where are our timers? All of our timers are enabled. Did you guys get to see the our good old friend Nightbot pop in and say hello to everybody? It says they're all enabled, but I haven't seen him pop in and mention reminders and whatnots. So be on the lookout for that, because I did notice that I had to relaunch something whenever this all kicked off. So who knows? Well, we'll see. Let's see. When did I start streaming? We should see him before the end of the show. We should see Nightbot pop in. If he doesn't, then I'm going to have to shake my fist and say, Nightbot. Oh, Nightbot, what have you done? Speaking of things that, what have you done? Marvel Comics, if you are someone who has a Marvel Comics digital, if you use their digital service, the comicstore.marvel.com, Marvel just sent out an email to everybody saying, hey, as of June 2nd, we are closing down our digital comic store. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh my gosh, does this mean no digital comics? No. In fact, Marvel announced this week that it was going to be doing some digital firsts. And I know a lot of people, a lot of comic shops are just bristle when they hear the word digital first. Oh, this digital first is going to be the end of our business if we allow these publishers like DC to do digital firsts. And then, of course, Marvel comes out and said, yeah, we're also going to do some digital firsts. And I haven't heard a single peep from any comic store owner complaining about Marvel. But Marvel did announce that they were going to be doing a digital first starting next week. My understanding is most of these digital firsts are books that are probably would not have seen the end of their run in print, or the sales were so low it's better for Marvel to not put out the single issues. So starting next week, we will get Ant-Man #4, The Avengers of the Wasteland #4, Ghost Spider #9, Ravencroft #4, and then on the 20th, 2020 Ironheart #1, Marvel's Spider-Man The Black Cat Strikes #4, Hawkeye Freefall number 5, and Star number 4. And then, of course, on May 27th, Marvel will resume its print schedule, a limited print schedule, through Diamond. It has not found another distributor at this time. But it looks like, I don't know if Ghost Spider is doing well or not. I mean, we could go and look at the business side of the top 500 comics shipped to the direct market in, I guess, April. But I'm going to guess it's not a high seller. Let's just go and look. Let's go over to, is this the right site? No, that is not the right site. There we go. We'll go over to Comic-Cron. They usually have a, oh, come on. I don't want this. One too many C's in Comic-Cron. Let's go over here to the website. And let's see what we have here for April. Do they have an April? Let's look at the monthly sales. Oh my gosh, what these guys. April sales. Let us find, well, I don't know if we would have gotten that in time, but let's look for Ghost Spider. No Ghost Spider. No Ghost whatsoever, so we're going to have to go back the month before to March. Let's see if we can find a Ghost on this list. There's Ghost Rider. There's Ghost Spider. Came in at number 81 with an estimated 21,000 comics sold. So, I mean, it's in the top 100. But maybe Marvel is seeing something different. My understanding, or the way I've interpreted it, and some other people have interpreted the announcement that came out from Marvel this week about digital comics, is that those comics will not see print until much later. So it's not like, you know, May 27th, you're going to get the print version of this comic. So the understanding or the guess or the assumption by everyone, including myself, so we could be wrong, is that Ghost Spider, those issues will be collected in trade, and Ant-Man and all that other stuff. This sounds like the end of Dueling Review? Oh no, it won't be the end of Dueling Review. Oh, I see what you're talking about, because I'm running through the comics. Some people don't listen to our Dueling Review show. Can you believe that? Dueling Review live Thursday nights, 8 o'clock p.m. Central Time in Discord, or you can listen to it bright and early Friday morning in the record, in the podcast. But you won't get all the fun bonus talk. But yes, usually I do run through all the comics that are coming out this week. Starting on the 27th, though, Marvel has said that, hey, we're not going to flood the market. We've got 5 books coming out. Amazing Spider-Man 43, Avengers 33, Marauders 10, Star Wars Dr. Aphra 1, which also was a digital first this week, and Venom 25. And then the week of June 3rd, all they're going to do is release trade paperbacks, and then June 10th, they'll get back to single issues, and it looks like for roughly all of June, they're going to flip back and forth each week, with one week being new issues and the next week being trade paperbacks as they slowly start to ramp up their production. But some people really like digital comics. I like digital comics. I mean, I've got, 30,000, 60,000, 100,000 comics in my Nerd Room of Doom. It's a lot. It's not 100,000. But that stuff takes up space, and I'm happy getting digital comics today. But I don't purchase through the Marvel Digital Comic Shop. And I know some people who do that. Some of you might be doing that. What will happen is after June 2nd, when the Marvel Digital Comic Shop closes, you'll be able to purchase your Marvel Digital Comics through the Marvel Comics app. So the app is not going away. And through the Comixology store. Okay? You get your digital comics on Kindle. Kindle, that's still essentially Comixology. In fact, you can connect your Amazon account to your Comixology account and then read all your Comixology books on your Kindle device as well. So you have the Marvel app, which I'm guessing that most people probably use that. I'm not sure that a lot of people were using the website to download and read their comics. But the other place to go to is to Comixology. And my understanding is when you go over to the website, it will tell you, hey, you can link your Marvel Digital Comic Shop account with Comixology, and all of your previous purchases will then be available on your Comixology account to read in your web browser, on your app, or whatever. So the thing that I find most interesting about this is not that the digital web store is shutting down, but that now Marvel is finally saying, okay, we're encouraging people to either use the app or go to the Comixology store. And my guess, I haven't used the Marvel app, so someone tell me if that is even linked, if that's also linked to your Comixology account. But when digital comics were first announced, when we had that very first iPad that was launched, and Marvel came out with their Marvel Comic app, and it's through Comixology, and everyone was all excited about this. Everything was running through Comixology. And then all of a sudden, the big, I think, this is my recollection of how things went 10 plus years ago, is that a lot of people didn't want to pay the licensing fee or the service fee to Comixology/Amazon. And so they said, hey, if this is all working, why don't we just create our own digital comic service? Dark Horse has one, Image Comics has one, Marvel, I think DC Archie Comics had one, I believe, maybe still do, where instead of going to Comixology to buy your product, because, some people are just like, I want nothing to do with Comixology. You could go to these other apps and make your purchases, or other websites and make your digital purchases, some including DRM-free PDFs. I think Image and Top Cow do that with some of their titles. And so this was a way, I think, for these comic publishers to look at this and go, oh, well, we can bypass Comixology and we won't have to pay them whatever percentage of the fee that they get, and we'll keep more money. And that's all well and good until a lot of these places are starting to realize, hey, wait a minute, it costs money to run the servers. We have to follow all of these security protocols if we're taking credit card informations, et cetera. We are probably paying, quite possibly, another company to handle all of this for us. And I think they finally realized that we're probably paying more running these apps and other digital stores than if we were just letting Comixology take their cut. And I think we're starting to see companies, big companies and small companies. I'm really, really waiting for Amazon, and maybe not Amazon and Apple probably will never agree and shake hands and take each other's cuts. But I think we're going to start seeing a lot of companies saying, you know what, it's easier for us, and it's a lot less burden on us if we just let the companies that know what they're doing do what they do. Let's let Comixology sell our digital comics. Yes, they're going to take a percentage off of it, and hopefully it's not a growing percentage. Maybe we can write a contract that says, for the next 10 years, they can't increase more than this much of the cover price, 10% of cover price or whatever that may be. And just let them deal with all these headaches, and we don't have to pay server costs. We don't have to pay programmer costs. We don't have to pay all of this other stuff because Comixology is already doing it. I don't mind paying for convenience. Way back in the early days of Major Spoilers, we used to be on GoDaddy. And we were on a shared server because it was cheap. It was inexpensive. But man, as the site grew and started to become more popular and more people were hitting the servers in the early days, that server rattled and it shook and it smoked. And there were times where it'd be down for several hours as I was dealing with the people at GoDaddy tech support trying to get it back up. And then those idiots put the backup on the same hard drive as the main stuff, and then the hard drive went down and we lost, 3 months worth of content on the site? And yes, maybe I was only paying $20 a month or $30 a month or whatever it was to GoDaddy for them to run the server and maintain the server and all this stuff. But it was horrible. I was spending more time trying to fix the server than I was trying to grow the site. And so finally, 2014, when we had that horrible DDoS attack that shut down the site for basically a week and a half, I gave up. I threw up my hands and said, you know what? I'm not trying to deal with this myself. I'm going to pay so that other people can take care of this stuff, so I don't have to worry about it. And so then we went over to Rackspace. And yes, I pay a lot of money for that Rackspace server. And I may have to start looking around and see if there's something that's a little cheaper. But they provide quality service. They provide, and this is not a commercial for Rackspace, anytime there's a problem, they take care of it. They do preventive maintenance. They make recommendations. Their service is very, very expensive. Let's just say every month I could buy all of you. Well, not all of you. Every month I could buy a new PlayStation. Maybe 2 PlayStations. For what we're paying for the server to be up and running. And it's up and running 98% of the time, I would say. Occasionally we'll have a few down times, but they're right on it and take care of it. Great customer service, great customer support. But if you compare the amount of times that we are down now to the amount of times that we were down back in the day with GoDaddy, it's night and day. And yes, it is a little bit more, but I don't have to lose sleep worrying about whether the server is going to crash in the middle of the night, because there's people that are taking care of that. And I have a feeling that's what these digital comic companies are starting to finally realize, is that yes, it may seem a little expensive for us to pay a company like Comixology to deal with all this stuff, or whatever the company is that's running our app, but we don't have to do it ourselves, and that saves us a lot of headache and heartache and other potential problems. And so in the end, we're actually saving money because of this. So good for Marvel. I hope other companies start to realize that, trying to do it all yourself isn't always the best solution. And I say that as a person who tries to do 99% of everything at Major Spoilers myself. But it's okay to outsource. And when we get our Patreon numbers up high enough, some of this content will be outsourced. I mean, not content, some of the work will be outsourced. So that frees me up to go do other things again. Jacrizzle says, it's a lot like when I go get my oil change. Sure, I could do it myself, but there's a certain amount of comfort I take from paying someone who gets paid to change oil. To change my oil. You are exactly right. JT Works says, I don't want to see physical comics in comic shops die, but I'm sure if comics were only digital, the prices would be cheaper, but then you could increase the price to be the same as now, and Apple would get their cut, and it would all be the same for them. Yeah, I mean, that is one thing when these digital comics launched and the comic shops went all ballistic. The concession was new comics would never sell less than, or the cover price would not be less than the physical comic price. And then I think after, is it 60 days, I want to say? Then the price could drop down to like $1.99 or whatever price the company decided they wanted to drop it down to. Now, when you were able to make your purchases through the Comixology app on your iPad or iPhone or whatever, Apple would take 30%. And then Amazon finally said, oh no, we're making billions upon billions of dollars. We can't give a mere 30 cents per dollar to Apple on digital comic sales, which are probably less than 10,000. Well, shouldn't say that. It's probably around 40,000 new comics purchased a month through the Comixology app. Okay, that's new comics, not the trades or anything like that. And so Apple and Amazon got in a big fight, and Amazon said, fine, we'll keep the app up on the App Store and let people read the digital comics, but if they want to pay for it, they're going to have to go through a web browser in order to make the purchase, because we don't want to give Apple its 30 cents on the dollar. And I don't think we're ever going to see that get undone, unfortunately. I think Amazon and Apple certainly has a lot more money than Amazon does. But as far as cash holdings, I think Apple has something like, is it $1 billion, $1 trillion in just like cash sitting in a vault somewhere. So I don't know if we're ever going to see that get undone, but I sure miss the days where I could just sit in the app and click buy, and then get the credit card bill a week later and go, holy crap, I bought a lot of comics. But yes, if there were only digital-only comics, I think you would see those price drop to about probably $1.99 for a new issue. And then we would probably see that increase by 25% every year for about 4 years until it's back up to the current price. I don't want to... Okay, so let's see. In my honest opinion, using something that's established and works makes sense. I agree with you, J. Michael T. Or, I'm sorry, MJ, not that one. JT Work says that's why Patreon is important to support content we enjoy. That is correct. And I should point out that some of you, not all of you, some of you will start seeing tax applied to your... This will start in June. It's nothing on my end. It's nothing really on Patreon's end. They're being forced to apply the sales tax for digital goods and services now. So some of you will see a tax applied to your Patreon in the future. One J. Michael T. says, I'm 99% digital, but will buy a trade paperback that I want to collect and display. I am agreement with you on that. JaChrysl says, right now I'm only physical comic. The only physical comic buys are certain number ones that really interest me, like Undiscovered Country and Decorum. I can't believe that 30% to Apple makes such a big difference. If I assume the digital comic book costs a lot less than the physical book. Well, the thing is, everything is digital, right? The comic creation is digital, so when they're going and printing the physical comics, they're using the same digital file that you're going to see on Comixology. The big difference is guided view, which I don't know who does guided view. I don't know if it's up to each publisher to put in the guided view or how that works. Maybe Comixology does that. But any purchase that you make from Apple, whether it be an app or whether it be a movie or something like that, Apple's getting 30% of that. And that's how they make their money. They're providing a service as a go-between. A premium go-between, right? And so they're like, if you want to be on iTunes, if you want to be on Apple Music or Apple TV or whatever that they're calling it now, it's a premium service to do that. And so we want 30% of that digital sale. But yes, the cost of a digital comic is far less than the actual cost of the physical comic because you're not printing something out. And so every digital sale is like huge profit for the comic book publisher because they're not wasting money on ink and print and delivery and shipping. So yes, it might make sense that 30% might be something that Amazon would be willing to give up. Now it's not the publishers that are saying we don't want to give 30% to Apple. It's Amazon saying they don't want to give 30% to Apple. And I'm sure there's some diminishing return chart that someone can go and look up. But, this was like, what was that? 8 years ago, 9 years ago? When Amazon and Apple had their big split. Hearing these cash amounts sounds so absurd, I'm starting to think this is some comedy dimension we live in. I don't think it's comedy dimension. I think we've fallen in the dark dimension. But hey, it's the weekend, right? It's Friday. It's time to go, get out, do something, even if it's sitting on your deck if you have a deck, or your porch if you have a porch. If it's warm enough this weekend, if you're not up in the Northeast, where apparently you're going to get between 1 to 5 inches of snow in the middle of May. God. I mean, it's cold here today. The high only was 62. It got close to freezing last night. But if you can go and get some fresh air this weekend. Enjoy some sunshine. Enjoy some of the greenery that is starting to grow and turn color in your area. I think it'll change your mood, make you a little bit happier. Hopefully you guys enjoyed our little discussion this week on Finally Friday. Time is already up. I cannot believe that time is already up. It's been a pleasure having you all here. I hope you are safe going into the week ahead, and I hope you do good things and be good. And we'll be back next week to talk about more fun things when it's finally Friday. Take care, everyone.